Here we are to look over the Steam controller that goes with the Steam Link or with your standard PC. I received this as part of the beta program, but have been unable to actually unbox it till today. We've looked at the Steam Link in a different video, so we'll move this off to the side. Now, the Steam controller, it's a $50 controller, and supposedly is going to be better in some aspects than hooking up a Xbox 360 controller to the computer. We will be taking a look at it here today and see if it's how it feels, and at a later point we will actually try testing it. Now, one nice thing is in the box here we actually have a controller. Looks like there's going to be an actual set of batteries and the dongle to use this thing wirelessly. Right now, it's one of the few other options we have on the market for the PC, besides an Xbox 360 controller wireless, or very recently the Xbox One controller. So at this time, let's unbox it and see what's actually inside here. So we have a nice controller sitting here. Feels very light right now. Now we have two touchpads on the controller itself. We have the joystick and we have a standard button layout like we're used to seeing on a lot of controllers. Up on the top we have another two buttons on each side, and on the back we also have buttons. The pads themselves, you can hear a click when it's pushed down on either one, so that is a pretty loud click there on either pad. Looks like it's going to have very high sensitivity. We'll find out. The buttons have a feel more like a 360 controller. The actual joystick feels tight right now. Our top controller buttons, while noisy, do seem to be fairly responsive. There is a point on these two big ones here that when you pull them down, you feel it stop, and then you feel a second click. Hopefully that's part of their HD haptic that they were talking about. And then we have the buttons on the back. So in theory, it gives you a third set of buttons on the back to use versus just gripping it. Now, inside the box, we have the little 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle, which means we're going to be able to get about 10 or 15 feet away while we're playing. They were kind enough to actually provide batteries, something you do not see with very many manufacturers nowadays. And we have underneath here instruction manuals, which we shouldn't need because, well, it's a controller. We have a little stand, looks like, to plug the actual dongle into, so that way you can move it around or set it up on your desk or someplace to get better radio reception. In theory, it's weighted, so it shouldn't move too terribly much, though there is no pad on the back of the device to keep it from sliding, just unlike the Steam controller itself. So we'll move that over to the side. And we should have one last thing in the box here. Looks like we have a little 6-foot USB cable. And with this, we're going to be able to plug into the dongle, or in theory, we should be able to plug into the controller itself for wired gaming, since it does have a USB on it. Now, some other interesting things is they say this is supposed to run up to 80 hours of time on batteries. And if we pop off the back, very easy to get into. And it has, looks like the batteries go into the left and the right hand side. So we were going to take a minute here and quickly pop these batteries and see how quickly they go in and see if we can actually, figure this out. See how much this is going to change the weight. Now, one interesting thing is as I'm putting in these batteries, it's actually pushing up a lever. So this way we can easily eject the batteries later. Steam has said during their testing that you're going to get about 80 hours of playtime in the controller. Quite frankly, I think it's going to be more like 60 or less, because who remembers to turn off their controller? The weight on it feels much more in line now with a standard Xbox 360 or PlayStation controller with the batteries in. It does feel a little bit awkward in the hand because if you look at the front here, it curves out. In theory, so it rests better into your palms, I would suspect, but it is an awkward feel for anybody that is used to a standard controller, especially with the pads on the controller here. This is going to be something that there will be a learning curve for, but if it allows me to play Civilization on the couch, I am going to enjoy that quite a bit. I do not know how it's going to do for a first-person shooter. Anybody that plays a first-person shooter without a keyboard and a mouse is not really playing the game. So, at another time, we will look to see how this does on the PC and with the actual Steam Link, and see how easy it is to actually set up and use. Any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and see you next time.